This video has us heading to a place called Cordola Campground, and that's located on the Murray River here in South Australia. And while we're there, we'll have a look at some very pretty sunrises indeed, and as well as that, we'll show you around the campground and what it has to offer. We'll also take a quick drive into Morgan and have a look to see how the area is recovering after the recent flooding. We'll check out the riverfront campsites at Cordola, and then we'll make our way over to Borough Gorge where we'll spend our last night. I'm Mick, and this is Sally. Together we've been caravanning Australia since the 1980s, and more recently we started to put the videos together just to show you some of what we see out there. There's a lot to see in Australia, and we hope you enjoy what we have here to show you. You can follow us on our trips via the following social media platforms. If you like the following video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yeah, g'day everyone and welcome to another video. It's been a while, but we knew that was going to happen. This being, well, getting close to being retired, it's a bit of a busy time of life really. It's go back to work and might find a bit of time to do a few things, but never mind. But no, we're at a place called Cordola, and if I've got that right, I'm going to pronounce it Cordola Campground. And that's situated between Blanchetown and Morgan on the Murray River in South Australia. So we left home this morning and we come up to Blanchetown, and once we got to Blanchetown we headed across to Morgan. Bit of dirt road and bit of bitumen road, bit of a mix, but that was okay. And we got here before lunch, so we're set up now, and we've just had a bite to eat. And it's one of those places where you're just going to sit and relax and do very little, but very nice here. We're actually on the backwaters of the Murray River. We were going to be right on the river, but it's still too wet, so we couldn't get there. But I tell you what, it's pretty nice here anyway, with the water on both sides of us. When we come in this morning, we came in the road just there, and to the left as you're looking now, you've got water out there and another backwater, and then to the right of the caravan, we got the water that we're going to be looking at and facing all weekend. Or it's actually not a weekend, it's 4 nights we're here, so yeah, it's going to be very nice. We had two options of the way that we got to Cordola Campground. We could have come the way we went, which was up through Blanchetown, of course, as we've shown you, or we could have gone through to Morgan and then come back towards Blanchetown and gone into the campground that way. But there was a little bit of dirt road either way. No matter which way we went, we were going to have a bit of dirt road, but the way that we did choose to come was more dirt road than bitumen, although it was a mix of both bitumen and dirt road. But it was quite a good road, so there was no issue there. Once we'd left the road that travels from Blanchetown to Morgan, we were now on the Pelican Point Road, or the road that takes you down to Pelican Point, and it was from there that we did this right hand turn that took us up in towards the campground. This campground is privately owned, and it is on private property, and you need to make a booking and arrangements for when you're going to arrive there, so that they can meet you there and let you know where you're going to go and camp and what the situation is. I don't think this has always been the case, but certainly since the flooding in the river, that's the way it is now for the time being, so it will pay to check up on that. But you arrive here at the gate, and the little Atco hut there, that's the office that you'll book in with. It is quite a large campground, this one, and because of the recent flooding that the river went through, we were on a section that was known as the Lagoon, and that was back from the main river, so we weren't on the main river. But even so, where we were, I don't think you could have got a nicer spot for the period that we were there. There's quite a bit of bird life within the area here, and the ground is very, very wet underfoot. You can see the crust here where it's all cracking open, dry on top, but if you were to drive on any of this, or even when you're walking, you could feel the ground. It was very soft underneath, so you had to be careful where you went if you wanted to go driving anywhere. We didn't. We chose to walk, and It was very pretty to walk in amongst the whole area. Cordola Campground has its own Facebook page, and I'll leave a link down in the video description that will take you to that Facebook page if you want to have a look at it. There's quite some good information on there, and it keeps you informed as to what the campground is up to, with some live concerts and so on that they have during various times. And it was on that Facebook page that I read that the campground has only just recently reopened. I think it was the 1st of this month, being July 2023, and that's the first time they've been open since they were flooded. As we walked around the campground, it was quite obvious to see all the work that had been done to get the campground up and running since the recent river flooding. All the roads were freshly graded, and as you can see here, there's a toilet there. They're the only facilities that the campground does offer to the campers, and in the lagoon area where we were, they were evenly spaced along the camping area itself. There are no rubbish bins within the campground that you can dispose of rubbish into. All campers are required to take their rubbish out with them when they leave, and any rubbish that you do have you can get rid of at the gate. When you go out, there are bins there that the campers can dispose of their rubbish into. When we booked in, we were told that we were able to drive along the lagoon and pick any campsite that was vacant that we wished to camp in. And the one that we had, we were pretty confident that no matter how long we had driven around for, I don't think we could have found a better spot. We had water on both sides of us, and with this channel that you're looking at now in the middle of the screen there, you'd almost think that was the main river channel, but it wasn't. That was back in the lagoon areas, and we were very, very pleased with the spot that we had. As the drone makes its way over the campground, you'll see an arrow come up very shortly, and that's where we were situated. And as you can see, there's plenty of water around us no matter which way you looked. Our first day at Cordola Campground, we had a bit of sun, and we certainly had very little wind. A bit of breeze, you can see the flag there in the background flapping a bit, but it was not windy at all, and that made for sitting around a fire very nice. The overcast days that followed, that was the same, no breeze, and it was just so peaceful sitting there. You could just stay there for weeks and weeks and just relax as the days rolled by. It was nice sitting around the fire by the water, and we just watched the golden hours that come in the late afternoon and change the colours of everything that we were looking at. We didn't really get any good sunsets on this trip, but we got this beautiful sunrise the following morning for our first morning there, and it was certainly something to see. I don't think the camera did it the justice that it deserved, but it was very specky to be there and have a look at it. From watching the sunrise in the east, you turn around and have a look at the sunrise as you're watching the western side of it, and you look over the lagoon, and it's such a different colour scheme as to what you would get during the normal day. You know, weird things could sort of happen in an area like this. You find yourself pointing the camera lens towards something to have a look at it, and without thinking you start moving your feet, and next thing you find you're actually down there walking amongst it. And it's so pretty here, so peaceful in the mornings, and with the changing light, it was forever changing the scenery that you were looking at. Yeah, good morning everyone. It's Saturday morning, and it's a beautiful morning here by the water. I'm actually by the lagoon. The caravan's not by the water's edge on this side. It's a little bit away, short walk, but no, it's very nice by the water, very calm. And We're not sure what we're going to do today. We might go for a drive to Hogwash Bend. It's been some time now since we've been there. With the recent flooding, of course, it was all closed off, and some time before that, before we actually camped there. So long time between drinks there, but never mind, we'll go down and have a look either today or tomorrow. But in the meantime, we're just going to sit around and enjoy the atmosphere that we've got here. A lot of birds squawking, so it's very nice indeed. With the calm conditions of the sunrise, it certainly made the lagoon a very pretty blue to look at. No doubt the flooding that has occurred would have closed the campground for a long period of time, which would have been hard to cope with, I guess, for the owners and so on. But with the country like this being flooded as it was, these trees and the bird life, they're just going to flourish in time to come with the events that have occurred. It really was a beautiful morning this morning, and with the unpredicted and unknown of what was going to happen with the weather over the next few days, in the end we decided that we'd go for a drive into Morgan and have a look around the area there and see how it was progressing after the flooding. As well as that, make our way on to Hogwash Bend and just have a look at the camping ground there to see what it was like now and whether it was actually drying out at all. It wasn't very far from the Cordola Campground into Morgan, and we soon found ourselves there. And it was a real nice thing to drive down here and swing around to the left and have a look at the way that the lawns on the foreshore of the river were recovering. I'm not going to say they were as good as what they were before the flooding event occurred, but by heck, they're certainly recovering well, and it's a credit to the town and the people that are rejuvenating the area and bringing it back to its former glory. It certainly is a picturesque area, this one, for families to come and have a picnic on a Sunday or any other day of the week that they could get here for that matter. It's clean and it's just so lovely to be in. It can really take a bit to get the mind around that all this area that we're looking at now, not all that long ago, was totally submerged with the flooding, all underwater. The lawn area here still got a bit to go to come back to be fully green, but as the summer approaches, no doubt not all that far away, that'll soon green up. And after we finished looking at all the lawns, it was onto the ferry and across to the other side of the river where we started to make our way towards Hogwash Bend. These ferries are such a wonderful thing to be able to use to cross over from one side of the river to the other, and I'm sure the people that do rely on them, and not like us tourists like we are at the present moment, the people that rely on these ferry services would have sadly missed them, no doubt, when the river was in flooding and the water was up that high that the ferries could no longer be used at the time. When the ferries were out and not being able to be used, no doubt it would have made some very big days and long kilometres for the people that had to drive from one area that had a bridge that crossed the river up to the next area that they could come across on the other side on a bridge. Hogwash Bend by road isn't really all that far from Morgan, and we were quite surprised when we come over the bank of the river here and started looking at the Murray River how high the river water still was. When you're not familiar with a lot of places that are in the river channel itself, you think that it's at normal pool level, and then you come and have a look at something like this where you are familiar with where the water would normally be up to and see it as high as what it is. You then get an understanding of how high the river water still remains. As the water was still so high in the Murray, all the campers that were here for this period, and there were quite a few of them here, of course they were camping up on the side of the bank or the top of the bank area and not being able to get down onto the sandy beach part where we would normally camp. This big old gum tree here obviously has fallen over at some stage. Now that could be due to being so wet underfoot. heavy on one side, a bit of wind, who knows, but it certainly illustrates that's a good reason that you shouldn't camp under them. We had considered coming to Hogwash Bend for a couple of nights before we went to Cordola Campground, but with the crowd that's here, I don't think there would have been too much room for us, so as it turned out it probably worked for the better, but it's a great campground this one, but not just at the moment. As the camera pans around to the left, you can see down there where the water is. That's where we'd normally park our van down there if we were camping, and a lot of other big groups do the same, but of course with the water like it is now, that's going to be off limits now for many, many months to come. As we made our way back to the caravan after leaving Hogwash Bend, we thought we'd come and have a look at the Graham Claxon Reserve. This was another area that the campground was flooded during the flood event that the Murray River went through, and it's one that we've been going to camp at for some time now, but for whatever reason we've just never got there during a camping period that we've been along the river. So today was just an opportunity to go down and see how the campground itself was recovering from the flooding. The boat ramp here at the side of the campground certainly very busy today. The lawns here to the side of the campground appear as though they've still got a long way to go to make some sort of recovery after the recent flood event, but given time it will get there. And the cliffs there on the other side of the water here that we're looking at now, during the afternoon golden hour they can turn a very nice bright orange and certainly make for some great photographic opportunities there. Just to give you some idea of how high the water did get up, Sally's pointing here to the water level that's on the tree, and when you look across to the hut there and the cliffs on the other side, you can just imagine how much water would have been going down the Murray River at that time. Another ferry crossing, and this one's a Cadell ferry to take us to the other side of the river, and then we make our way back to Morgan as we head back towards the camping area where the caravan is. This ferry is a reasonably steep one to go down to get onto the ferry, and then when you come off the ferry on the other side of the river, it's quite a steep climb to get up the other side of the river bank itself. Don't quote me on that, but I'm not sure. I think this ferry may not have closed during the flooding of the Murray River recently, but as I say, don't quote me because I'm not real sure on that. The staff that work these ferries, they always seem to be so friendly. After our drive into Morgan and Hogwash Bend to have a look there, when we got back to the caravan it was lunchtime, so it was a quick bite to eat for lunch, but the weather, you couldn't have asked for any nicer. There was no wind, the water was like glass, and because it was so isolated, I guess, as a campground, you could hear all the birds chirping away. It was just such a beautiful thing to sit back and relax and take it all in. As the afternoon progressed, we slowly lost our clear sky. The blue sky changed for cloudy, and it would come up quite dark, and we weren't quite sure whether it was going to rain or not, but no breeze, that was the main thing, so sitting by that fire was still very nice. We brought in with us some of our own wood, but we did purchase a bag of wood from the office when we booked in here, and they sell bags of wood. I think it was $20 per bag, which wasn't too bad. It was quite good wood to burn, so with what we had and what we got from them, that saw us out for our period that we were camping here. The clouds continued to build, and they did thicken, and eventually we had a couple of spots of misty rain, and it pushed us in under the awning a couple of times, but no sooner it came than it stopped. So it was certainly not enough to record in a rain gauge, but looking at the sky we weren't real sure, but no, it soon cleared off and settled back to quite a nice afternoon. With some of the heavy cloud now gone, it opened up to a bit of open sky and let the sun come through for that golden hour late in the afternoon, and it certainly doesn't look much better than what it is at the moment. At the time that we stayed here, the cost per camping site where we were, I think from memory they charged it as $15 for the vehicle and the first person, and then $5 for every other person that was inside that vehicle. Now you might think that's a bit odd, but the glory, I guess, of that is if you're a solo camper, then you're not paying for anyone else, so $15 for yourself and that's it, so that's pretty fair. But I believe the prices may be going up shortly, so just be aware of that. But for us, $20 a night, which I thought was very good for what we got. Something different for our meal tonight. We thought we'd cook our steak out on the open barbecue, and as it was, it turned out very, very nice. Yeah, g'day everyone, and today's no different to the other days that we've been here. It's nice and calm, no wind, that's the main thing, and yeah, a little bit of rain yesterday, but I'm not sure what we're going to get today, so we're going to go for a bit of a walk this morning and have a look at the riverfront, because we camped on the Lagoon side and not on the main river as said before, so we'll go for a bit of a walk and have a look along the riverfront and check out some campgrounds along there. You never know, maybe next time we're up here we might go out that way rather than where we are, but very nice where we are even though, so see what we find. We drove down to this part of the road here and parked up on the side of the road, and this is the one that takes you over to the riverfront camping sites, and the road going down through there on the camping sites is closed, and obviously that was because it was still so wet. I think it may have been open because at the time that we booked this we did have a riverfront site booked, and then they received more rain since we made that booking, and they got in touch with us and said that the riverfront was now closed off again. So it was wet to walk around there, not muddy, but certainly something that you wouldn't want to be dragging a caravan down there or a heavy vehicle, and churning up the river bank and making it not very pleasant for when it did eventually dry out. As the drone goes up into the sky there, and that's the main channel directly in front, and then when it swings around to the right as it's going now, and as it's flying there, that's looking into the campground there back by the lagoon, and that's where we were. All of the riverfront campsites are numbered, and most of them have a fire pit there. Not all of them, most of them do, and you can see the toilets here. There's numerous numbers of these toilets, and there is not a toilet one per campground site. Please be aware of that, but there is that many there that you'd almost think there would be one per site. And here we are, campsite number 5, so that's the numbers that you'll be looking at if you book a site. And certainly the best part of it is if you go down there camping and you say you're on site number 21 and you think that's pretty good, then you've got a reference point of if ever you want to go back and rebook the same site. during our period that we were walking along the riverfront here, there are a number of these houseboats that were making their way up and down the Murray River, and it's certainly a nice holiday if ever you have a houseboat holiday. Hi Camp Charlie, I'm assuming that this is a known recognised campsite, this one. It's certainly a large, reasonably flat campsite, something that would cater for large groups if there was a large group going up there. We walked right along the riverfront campsite area, and according to the brochure there's 26 campsites along there, and that does not surprise me with the numbers that were there. There's certainly a lot of them. And the road here with the big tree across it that's there, that's to stop people from driving along there, and that swings down past the lagoon side, and it was very, very soft underfoot as we walked along there, but still a nice walk. I'm not sure that this road that was blocked off, whether it's a access road for the people there to do maintenance, or as I say, I'm not real sure, because we never saw any campsites that were adjacent to the road, and we were told that all the riverfront campsites were numbered, and there weren't any numbers or anything associated with camping along here, so we surmise it was access for workers, but as I say, unsure. A little bit far away to get a good shot on camera, but there would have been between 10 and 20 of these big black swans over there, and they were just swimming around as though they didn't have a worry in the world. Well, this brings us to the end of our riverfront campground walk, and it's time to head back towards the caravan and have some afternoon tea. Oh, did someone mention afternoon tea? Well, we're going to have scones, jam and cream and a nice hot beverage. What a way to go. And when we've got cold scones afterwards, there's nothing better than Promide on them. Yeah, morning everyone. It's Monday morning now, and we've woken to another overcast day. A very gentle breeze, but look, that's fine as long as there's no wind. Of course, the overcast is no good for the sailor, so we'll just play that one by ear. But we've had 3 nights here. We were going to stay 4 nights, but for whatever reason, I don't know whether it's when I filled out the form when we booked in, or whether there was a mistake there somehow. We only scored 3 nights. We were going to go back and extend it for that extra night, but we decided yesterday when we were walking around that we might go to Burra Gorge tonight and have 1 night there. It's only, I think it's about 92 kilometres from here, so we'll head out here and go into Morgan. And when we're in the town in Morgan, we'll go through to the left-hand turn and head out towards Borough and make our way down there. So it won't take very long to get there, a bit over, well, maybe an hour and a half, just chuffing along slowly. We'll empty the toilet at Morgan on our way through. There's a dump point there at the Oval apparently, so we'll see if we can find that one. So yep, we'll go over to Burra Gorge or Burra Creek, World's End, whatever you want to call it, and we'll have lunch there and spend the afternoon there and tonight, and then we'll return back to Adelaide tomorrow. As mentioned during this video, it's a very clean campground, this one. There's no need to leave any rubbish behind. They've got all these bins as seen here at the entrance gate near the office. As you leave your campsite, take your rubbish with you, drop them in the bins, and it makes it enjoyable for everyone and yourself should you ever go back there again. Now turning off the Borough to Robertstown Road and heading up to the World's End Reserve or the Burra Creek Gorge, whatever name you know it as, it's still a beautiful place to visit. We come here many, many times, and we enjoy it every time that we do go there. At the moment the countryside here is very green as seen, and with these big beautiful old gum trees, it makes it hard not to enjoy yourself if ever you come here to camp. Only staying for one night and getting here at the hour that we did, we stayed hitched up, so we were soon set up and had the fire going, ready to enjoy ourselves. We're here at Burra Creek, and it was an easy drive, so we got visitors this afternoon. Younger sister Debbie's here with us, so we're just going to sit around the fire this afternoon and not do too much else. It's certainly nice here. Everything's green, the hills are green, and the beautiful old gum trees along the creek. It's very nice. No matter what time of year we come to camp here at Burra Creek, there's always a reasonable crowd here, and today was no different. And during the day there was a number of people come in for a bit of a sticky beak just to drive through and have a look and see what everyone was doing, but it's a very popular camping ground. It was good to be able to sit around the fire all afternoon, and even better to see the younger sister Deb come out and spend a few hours with us. Yeah, good morning everyone. You guessed it, we're going home and the sun's finally come out. We've had overcast conditions all the time while we've been away, but it's been so nice though. There's been no wind, and that's the main thing. No wind, no rain, and we can put up with that overcast conditions. But yes, home today, so this is the end of the video, and at this stage our next trip away will be the York Peninsula down on the bottom of South Australia. So hope you've enjoyed what we've shown you in this video, and until the next one, you take care and look after yourself. If you like the video that you just watched, give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of our videos, click on the subscribe button, and once you've done that, change the bell notification to all. That way every time that we do uploads to our YouTube channel, you'll be notified.